Hi everyone, friends and stampers. It's Carolyn Sander from carebearstamps.blogspot.com, and I'm here today to show you how to create a beautiful watercolor background like the one shown here on this card. Okay, if you would like to see this card in further detail, you can check my blog out, like I said, at stamps.blogspot.com, and you can see it close up in further detail. So today, basically what I'm going to show you though is how to make this background on this card. Okay, and here's another sample. Here's another sample. Watercolor techniques nowadays are super hot and trendy in card making, and it's no wonder why you get that nice soft melded look, and it's fun every time because every time it turns out a little bit different. Okay, so today the stamp set that I used from Stampin' Up is called Watercolor Wings. Okay, and that's the one pictured here. It's actually a 3-step Stampin' set. Okay, and that's what I used on this butterfly here. I'm not going to show you how to make the butterfly today, but I will show you what I used to make the butterfly. Okay, so 3-step stamping, meaning you first stamp this stamp in the set, then this stamp, and then that stamp. 1, 2, 3-step stamping. Okay, now when you're doing this 3-step stamping, you're layering your images 1, 2, 3 in different colors, and this is what comes of that. Okay, this is what I've done here. When I did stamp this butterfly, I stamped, okay, this stamp's messy, pardon me, because I've used it a few times here, but I inked it up and then I sprayed it with my water spritzer, okay, and then stamped. So when you ink first, okay, spray, and then stamp, you're going to get a more melded look or watercolor look, such as here. This is a watercolor stamp set, so it's double watercolor whammy, and they just go together well. Okay, so I did that with each of the layers, each of the stamps here. Okay, I stamped this one in Melon Mambo, this stamp in the set. Okay, inked up my stamp, spritzed it, stamped it. Next stamp in the set was this one, and I used Smoky Slate. Okay, inked up my stamp, spritzed with water, then stamped it. Okay, and then the next one here is this stamp in the set. All right, and again I inked it, and you can either decide, I actually just stamped this one, I didn't spritz because I wanted a more bold black image on the top layer, but up to you, you could try spritzing also to get more of a melded look. Okay, then for the next layer on this butterfly, I cut this butterfly out using my butterfly thinlets. Okay, this thinlet and my Big Shot. I'll have a video posted on my blog, basic video on the Big Shot that was created by Stampin' Up, if you're wondering how to cut this out. But cut this out using some vellum paper, and then use this stamp here in the set with my black ink, and voila, here you have it. Layer those stamps together, put it on this beautiful background that I'm going to show you how to create, and you're done. Okay, done is done. You can create the rest of the card, I'm sure. The rest is pretty straightforward. So my main key thing here today was to show you how to do this background, so let's get on to that. I'm going to move this stamp set aside now. Okay, now, so in order to create this background, again, is a watercolor technique. Every time it's going to look a little bit different. Okay, here are some other samples I have. They all look a bit different. The reason I liked this one was because I liked the drippy effect, okay, of this coming down. And so I'm going to try and recreate that for you today, but if you have other backgrounds that turn out differently, that's okay. You can still use them, and every time it's going to be a little different, and that's what art is all about, right? Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way now. So again, like I said, I used Melon Mambo and Smoky Slate ink, okay? I also used some watercolor cardstock from Stampin' Up. The nice thing about this watercolor cardstock is it's extra thick. Because it's extra thick, you can layer it with water, you can watercolor it, do multiple things without it pilling. If you have normal cardstock, it might pill a lot, especially if you're trying to do something like this. So you do, for a technique like this, you do need this watercolor cardstock, okay? I don't know if you can see it here, but I have some wax paper Okay, and this is the surface that I'm going to use to work on today. All right, so first I'm going to open up my Melon Mambo ink pad. All right, and I'm going to just ink along the top here. Pardon me, and I'm just going to make some smudgy marks. Smudgy. All right, next I have my smoky slate pad. Now you can either do the same thing, but I want less gray. You can do the same thing below, but I actually want, you know, a little bit less gray. So I'm just going to open my pad up here and use this as my palette, okay? This is sort of like my painter's palette in the stamping world, is your lid to your ink pad. And there's already enough here. If you don't have enough, you can either smoosh your ink pad like so, push, 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 to get some ink in your palette. Or you can buy a reinker, which is great, because then when your pads dry out in 10 years like mine have, because I've had them for so long, you can ink them up and also use them for different things like this. So here I take a little bit of ink and put it in my pad. Boop. Okay, there's your palette. Perfect. Don't need the reinker if you don't have it, but it's nice to have if you do. Okay, so next I'm going to take my aqua painter. Okay, this one's got a bit of pink on it still. Just give me a second here. You're going to take your aqua painter. These are basically paint brushes that Stampin' Up sells, and they include a barrel that stores your water in it. The nice thing about that is you don't have to worry about as much mess, and I don't know, I find they're a lot easier to work with. Okay, so here we go. I use my hand as a palette sometimes too. So here we go. I'm going to take some of this with my aqua painter. You know, if you don't have one of these, you can use a paintbrush, but these are great. Okay, and I'm going to just put some ink sporadically around here, some, you know, different places. And I'm also going to, so that will just made it like bright pink, but I'm also going to take my re-inker, like I talked about, and go for more of a darker gray look. Let's put some more on there like so. Next is my spritzing tool. Okay. My spritzing tool is basically like a mini water spray bottle. And I'm gonna spritz this, okay? Like it's pretty much self-explanatory, you know what I'm saying? Spritz it. And I'm gonna spritz it in a downwards motion because I want this to give me a dribbled look. Alright? See how that's going? Alright? Now, I'm gonna take my cardstock and basically sploosh it in here. See what it goes. Like I said, every time you're like, I don't know what this is gonna look like. Every time is a bit different. Okay? If you don't like it, I have like 5 other ones over here that I created. So it's gonna work in some respects. Okay? So this one you can see I actually want a bit more pink here. That's just me. I want more pink there. So, you know, I'm gonna maybe grab my spritzer and spritz some more. Create more of that drippy effect that I was like, oh, I love so much. Okay, like I said, every time is gonna be a little different. Don't be sad, you can re-splooge it down. Okay, it's gonna be beautiful in the end. Okay, now, so that's done. Normally then you take you can either let this dry or take your heat gun and, you know, heat set it. I am somewhat prepared today, and I have another one handy here with me. Ta-da! Okay, I'm gonna pull this wax paper out of the way. And so now we have this. We've heat set this or let it air dry. Heat setting means if you have a heat gun, you can turn it on and heat set that and dry it faster. Just speeds up the process. Okay, this is dry. Next step in this process is I want to add, you know, a little bit more of these gray dollops I was talking about. So again, take my aqua painter. You can actually paint with your aqua painter, go figure, if you have images you want to color in, but I'm just gonna dollop it on here. Okay. And then I'm gonna let it drip down. Okay. And then I'm gonna, you could let that dry itself, air dry. You're gonna get more of the gray look if you let it sit a bit longer. I'm gonna take my paper towel and just daub a bit because I'm trying to speed this up today so you don't have to listen to me forever and ever. Okay, so here we go. Now I've got that look going for myself. So that's that step. Next I'm gonna take some water, like full water drops. You can either open your aqua paint or pour it on your hand, but I'm going to actually take little drops of water and just splooch them all over, okay? That was maybe too much in that one spot, but whatever. Here we go. Okay, I didn't like having so much there. You can do that with the water from a cup, or just open your spritzer tool. Whoa, I'm pouring it on. Okay, came out too far. Anyway, basically you want some big drops of water on this, okay? And what you're going to do is let those water drops sit, because the longer they sit and the more they sit, they're going to pull out some of that color from the cardstock, and you're going to get these nice watermarked impressions or images or look, whatever you want to call it. You get what I'm saying. So you can see, especially where there's more drops, which is more look I was going for, you're going to let that sit. You're going to get more of this look that I'm talking about here, okay? So again, you can sponge those up. Okay, every time, like I said, it's going to be a bit different. If I was more patient and let these water drops sit longer, you'd get this look and it would come through more because we'd be pulling more of that color out. Okay, so that's that stage. Next stage is the splatter stage. Okay, so next thing, because this wasn't quite enough, you know, next thing is I'm going to go in with some ink and I'm going to splatter. Okay, so in order to splatter, I've taken some of my ink from my pad here and with my aqua painter. Normally, like I said, you can color in images with these if you want to actually watercolor an image that's lined. But what I'm going to do with this today is I'm going to splatter, okay? Got some ink on here, I'm going to splatter my ink. I want to move my pink out of the way just in case. We're going to splatter my ink like so to get some gray splatter marks all over my cardstock, okay? And if you want darker gray, you want less dilute gray, I'm going to move this aside. I can actually use my re-inker and just put that in the lid of my pad and maybe a touch of water, but I'll get more darker gray splatters, okay? It's just more concentrated that way. Okay, and I can keep going to town, right? If you want, it's up to you. However much you like, Next, I'm going to take the pink and do the same virtually, but I have to clean my aqua painter off. Okay, and I have my pink here. I could put a drop in my pad if I want. Probably only need a drop. It's up to you. Maybe you like not as bright and you want less water, or less ink and more water, pardon me. You get the picture. And yeah, splatter away. Woo woo. Okay. Okay, and I might, you know, just splatter a bit more. You can do whatever you want. Daub it up. It's gonna look a bit different every time, okay? So there you have that. All right, so that's your background. Again, let this dry, heat set it, do whatever you wish. So there, that's finished. Now you can dry this, make it into a card. Your card, such as this. And here you are, here you have it. The only other finishing touches on this is I've stamped with smoky slate, the You Are Kind, using the sentiment from this stamp set here. Okay, I've added some ribbon with a staple and made it, you know, assembled it into a card virtually. If you look at my blog, you probably can't see on the video, but I've got these little enamel-like blobs, and you might think they're enamel dots, but they're not. So the other finishing touch, the final touch on this card, is once it was all assembled and put together, I always do this as a final step, is I use my fine tip glue pen. This is similar to the Crystal Effects that we used to offer, but better because it has a fine tip. I'm just going to show you how I did that. So it's the same product virtually, except you have a fine tip, and I just made blobs on my card and let them dry. This takes quite a while to dry, so like I would leave it for a few hours before I touch it. That's why I always use this product last.